I had been to Catherine's retreat in Vancouver Island back in January 2023. And it was like life changing for me, like totally transformative. Although I have to say, I was looking for a change then. So I feel like you have to really be like looking for a change, which obviously, if you're listening to this testimonial, you probably are. And so it was really what I needed. And I had been looking for a change for several months, but I just couldn't do it myself. And so it was so transformative. And I just like came out of it feeling so amazing. And then when Catherine told me about the online option to do the circle over the course of 12 weeks with other women, I knew that my mom could benefit from it. I know that my relationship with my mom could really benefit from it. And I just wanted to make sure like all of the learnings that I had gotten from the in-person event, I could like seal the deal, right? Because like you sometimes it's like you go and work out, but like you need to do it a few times to be able to get that rhythm. And I knew that there was a few areas that I just hadn't kind of like I hadn't really nailed yet. And so I really felt that I was like on such a good trajectory and I didn't want to lose that. I wanted to like really skyrocket. So I felt like the circle would be just like a great opportunity for me to do that. And I also did it with my mom, who I felt like completely needed a little bit of Catherine's guidance. I think the biggest thing that I've learned without getting emotional is that like we get so busy in our everyday, and like of course everybody is different, but for me, like for everybody, we have so much potential in our life, and then you literally only live once. You literally only live once, and then you're gone. Kaput, right? And so, I mean, we all have different beliefs of what happens to you after that, but like you don't really know. Nobody really knows. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, sorry.
That's okay. Nobody really knows. And so for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, I've just got this one chance. And if I don't take care of my body and I don't make those decisions, those changes now, I know I'm going to look back and regret. Perfect example. Last night, Justin came into the room listening to some classical music on his phone. And I was like, I recognize that song. And it was Yo-Yo Ma, like it was this like beautiful piece. And I started crying. I was in bed, I started crying. And I remembered that at a time in our life where we had more balance, we would all sit down as a family and we would play classical music. And Leo was only 2 and he loved it. And it was like, oh, so amazing. And like, one of my goals was to get back to family dinners, no devices, no TVs. And that's something we're working on so much. And I felt sadness in my heart last night because I was like, oh my gosh, I already regret, like only 3 years have passed. It's only been 3 years, but I regret getting off of that routine. And so I think what the circle has taught me is that like life is so short and there's so much that we can do with our life to have this rich, beautiful, juicy life. And it takes work like everything else. But if you put in the work, the beauty that can come from it is going to be like magnified by 1,000. And I just want that. I just want that. I don't want a minute of my life to go wasted. And so I think by being in the circle and by doing the retreat, it made me realize like I have to slow down. I have to have boundaries. I have to eat properly. I just finished my breakfast and I'm making sure I'm eating within like an hour of waking up. I'm having my greens. I'm moving my body because I want to do the most that I can do on this short time on earth. I think the benefits from learning and practicing the content are like things that you could never put a dollar figure on, ever. No money in the world can give this to you. And I know this because in 2018, 2019, I had the best financial year of my life. Like I was like, oh my gosh, we bought a farm, we invested. I was like, oh, but guess what? I was probably the unhappiest. And I was drinking too much. I was on my phone too much. I was irritable. I was burnt out. My mom was depressed. Like, I would not have wished my life on anybody. Yes, I could take fancy vacations. Yes, I could pay my mortgage. Like, yes, I had nice clothes, but I wasn't truly happy. And it's too bad that like money goes wasted on people like me because like money can do so much good for so many people. But it was then that I realized like I can't do these things to be financially driven. And so I think what I've benefited most from in the last, basically since January, February, March, April, May, like last 6 months, is that I put up those boundaries. I'm not as reactive. I'm not as emotional. I have more clarity when I'm communicating. I'm more rational. although like I still don't know what I'm doing with my business, I have more and more clarity of like what those steps may look like. And it seems, like I said, rational. It doesn't feel like I'm flying off the handle every day. I don't feel like I'm on a like lifetime version of Supermarket Sweep where I'm like literally running from one corner to the other. Yes, I like to keep myself busy, but I just feel more, what is this word? Like balanced, I suppose. And I think that's just one of the most important things for me. It's just like balance is what I was looking for. Ultimately, I think when you have balance and peace, you start saying no to things that may earn you more money. And yeah, there are certain situations where people have balance and peace and they have money. But I think for people like me, where you call it like a new money, right? Like I don't have any inherited money or anything. Like there's a certain hustle that has to happen, and that comes at a cost. So you just have to ask yourself, is it worth it? And I don't know if it is. When we invest in things like travel or clothes or houses, we don't really like blink an eye. But I find when you go to put a price on like wellness or exercise, I think it's because it's not tangible. Like you don't know for sure, guaranteed what you're going to get out of it. It may be a bit scary, but ultimately you have literally nothing to lose but a bigger trajectory of like where you want to go in life and like fulfilling those dreams. So if you're feeling like you need a change and you're feeling you want to do something different, you feel like you have more potential, what could that juicy potential be? I would recommend for people to reach out to you, Catherine. Join in person, join a virtual, sign up for the courses, give you a follow, because I mean, ultimately it's your life. You decide what you want to do with it and where you want it to go. And if you feel like you have more potential and you feel like you want to get the most out of it, for me, and I'm talking as somebody who I feel like has already gotten a lot out of life. I feel like I am a go-getter. I am organized. I feel like I can be inspirational, but I felt like there was some gaps that I needed help with. And I feel like the in-person retreat and the online course really helped me fill in those gaps and help smooth out that trajectory that I'm already on. So also what I love about you, Catherine, is I feel like you're judgment-free. You are like so understanding. You are a safe place. I can talk about like my wrongdoings or my weaknesses or like the things I fucked up on, pardon my language. And you're just like, you know, really understanding that we all are human. We're all in a different path, but we all are capable of making those changes. So yeah, it's very reassuring and very like inspirational to work with you.